Good morning, Shiloh. Do they do this every Sunday or just because it's anniversary? Oh! Your pastor would say after this kind of singing, somebody better say a word in here today. Let me say I'm honored to stand with you as you celebrate 30 years. We're grateful. Ben, the president, and Mrs. Obama wanted me to send you their greetings. President wanted to come, as you know, but shooting in Oregon and some friendly fire in Afghanistan just made it impossible, but he said you and Cynthia would understand. I went by the Sigma House. Sigma House is in D.C. Saw the president of Phi Beta Sigma, John Mason. You going up to see Bishop? Yes, sir. Be sure and tell him in the tradition of Kwame Nkrumah, in the tradition of Hosea Williams, in the tradition of George Washington Carver, in the tradition of Emmett Smith, in the tradition of Shaquille O'Neal, in the tradition of Terrence Howard, honorary but still Sigma, nevertheless, he told me to tell you to fly blue. Shiloh, you have to understand that I am not just a friend of your pastor. I feel like I'm a friend of this church family. So if I'm honest, I don't know whether to cry or just start running. So I'll probably do a combination of both a little bit later. It is such a joy to be with you and to celebrate not just Bishop, but First Lady as well. You see, the thing that I appreciate about Cynthia, First Lady Watts, is that you can still be beautiful, moral, Christian, and have style all at the same time. All at the same time. Look, I love Kerry Washington and her portrayal on Scandal, but Olivia Pope has the morals of a German Shepherd, if we're honest. I love Shonda Rhimes and what that whole Thursday night thing means. And I look at How to Get Away with Murder, but I have to say, really? Really? Now, y'all may not like Cookie, but at least Cookie is real about her. See, at least she's real. Cookie said the streets ain't made for everybody. That's why they made sidewalks. So I just like celebrating the First Lady because of all that she brings and how this guy loves her. I'll talk to him, and you know he went to Yale, you know. Extensive vocabulary. But there are times when describing Cynthia that he does not have the words, does not have the superlatives to convey to me what he's trying to express. And it's a cross between British and Jamaican. What he says is, he's trying to describe something about Caesar, but he just can't find the words. And what he'll say is, oh my God. Edward, oh my God. So I just appreciate that about him and them. Now, I know what I'm here for, and I'm gonna try to do it. I'm gonna try. So, look, let's do this. Let's go to the Word, okay? Let's go to the Word. Go with me to Matthew. Matthew chapter 4. Looking at verse 1 down through verse 11. From the American Standard Version. Then Jesus led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he afterward hungered. And the tempter came and said unto him, If thou art the Son of God, command these stones become bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Then the devil taketh him into the holy city, and he set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, If thou art the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee. On their hands they shall bear thee up, lest haply thou dash thy foot against a stone. And Jesus said unto him, Again, it is written, Thou shalt not make trial of the Lord thy God. Again, the devil taketh him unto an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them. And he said unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then said Jesus unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. Would you think with me for a few minutes on this theme? Still standing after all these years. Still standing after all these years. Let's pray together. God, take now the words of this mouth, the meditations of our hearts, one with the other. Sojourn with us, O God, until we see you up close and personal. Anoint our time in the name of Jesus. Amen. Shiloh, we labor under the perception that pastoring is a charmed life. We labor under the notion that because the bishop of this place, because the man or woman of God has the privilege of leading and serving, that somehow they are exempt from trials and tribulations. Somehow their lives are free from tragedy, disappointment, somehow all their dreams are always fulfilled, all their wishes are always granted, and all their prayers are answered in the affirmative. Sometimes we act as if the leader, the pastor, the man of God, the woman of God does not go through trials and tribulations. I come today from Maryland to say it ain't so. And that for a brother to stand in one place for 30 years is worth celebrating. It is. At one point in our history, you could start at Electric Boat and end at Electric Boat. At one point in our history, you could start your career and end it in the same place. Not so. Folk move around the country. Folk change now. I want to suggest that there have been some headwinds that Benjamin Watts has had to face. The wind was not always at his back. I want to talk about this from the perspective of Jesus. As Jesus looks at the adversary face to face. Now, he's taken to a place of temptation. He's been fasting, he's been praying, he's ready now to begin his ministry. But God has given him over that the devil might take a shot. Now, I want to suggest, Shiloh, that the devil always assumes a shape that is pleasing to you. Not to me, but to you. And that shape is different for each one of us. To the chemically dependent, it's crack. To the one struggling with alcohol, it's Chivas Regal. To the lonely sister, he's the knight in shining armor. To the lonely brother, she's attractive in all the right places. To the struggling student, he's a stolen test exam. To the single mom, he's caring and compassionate. He's good marriage material. To the insecure, he's security. To the weak, he's strength. He always takes a form that's pleasing to you. He says to Jesus, if you are the Son of God, if you are, take these stones, make them bread. Now, Jesus says, devil, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. When you think about what preaching is, Peter Adam argues that what we call preaching is different than what the Bible refers to as the ministry of the word. He says there are at least 33 Greek words in the New Testament usually translated as preaching or proclaiming. Now, the bishop of this place, the preacher, the man, the woman of God, has to understand that there is the didache, the teaching of the word, the theo, the life-challenging, life-affirming counseling of the word. But there is also the living of the word. Your bishop does not just proclaims the word, he lives the word. Now, the thing that I've always appreciated about Ben is that Ben is secular enough to make you know he's been through some stuff, but holy enough to get a prayer through. It's not that folk have less confidence in pastors, it's that pastors don't live what they preach. Jesus didn't say you should proclaim the word. Jesus said you have to live by that word. It's much easier to proclaim the word. It's something else when you have to live into that word. What we celebrate, Shiloh, is not just a proclaimer of the word, but someone who lives by that word. Now, I have told him, and I wouldn't tell you anything I've not already told him, he's a great preacher. He's not a good preacher. He's a great preacher. But what sometimes, Shiloh, you don't understand the difference between good preaching and great preaching is great believers. See, we can proclaim, but when your heart comes to the place anticipating, when your heart comes to the place expecting, when your heart comes to the place with the confidence that you're going to get a word directly from the mouth of God, that makes great preaching. Jesus, Satan, let me explain something to you. I have to live by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Satan says, right on, Jesus. Right on. One down. Now, if you are the Son of God, let me test you again. Why is it that Satan says, if you are the Son of God, twice? The pastor played football. The football team at A&T during the spring, when football was not in season, would line up in Holland Bowl, right outside the cafeteria. 11 on 11. Now, this was 30 years ago. ESPN was just getting started. There'd be a person filming. And the football team would line up, and they'd run a sweep. And the guy's filming, you run the sweep, pass the ball, somebody would catch the ball, imaginary. The person filming would then rewind. The ball would go back. The players would run backward. A part of what was then is that we needed imagination. We didn't have PlayStation and Nintendo. We had to make our own entertainment. Rewind, if you would. Just one chapter. Back to chapter 3. Go to the baptism of Jesus, if you would. Would you? At the baptism of Jesus, John, who's performing the baptism, said, Jesus, I know you want me to baptize you, but don't you have it backwards? You should be baptizing me. Jesus said, John, just do it this time, just because I asked you. John baptizes Jesus. At the baptism, who's present? John, John's friends, Jesus, Jesus' friends, other disciples. At the conclusion of the baptism, something comes over the loudspeaker. God, in an audible voice, says, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Jesus hears it. John hears it. Everybody gets a tweet. Everybody gets an Instagram, a text. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Did you say Jesus heard it? And John heard it? And everybody present heard it? Well, tell me why 30 days later the devil can still tempt Jesus with, if you are the Son of God. Wait a minute. 30 days earlier, this is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. 30 days later, if you are the Son of God. Did Jesus mishear? Did he mishear? Okay, he didn't. Can I tell you why this bothered Jesus and why the devil went at him this way? Can I tell you? I can't say it loud. I can only whisper it to you. Because look, I'm not one to gossip. What they say, Joseph ain't his real daddy. The Holy Ghost lives. Now, at least the boy's mama could have come up with a better story than that. But all his life, he's heard, you know, Joseph ain't his real daddy. So even though his real daddy says, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased, the devil wants to put it before him, if you are the Son of God. Now, brothers and sisters, the devil can only give you what you already have, but don't know it. You do understand? He can't give you anything that you don't already have, but don't know it. Can I go back to Eve? Some of you all in here are old enough to remember Miles Davis. Miles Davis has a picture with Jerry Curl, big. His skin is almost red. And I said to myself, with no disrespect to the great musician Miles Davis was, man, you look like the devil in that picture. But here's where it helped me. When the devil talks to Eve, he says, Eve. He don't call her Eve, he calls her Eve. He said, Eve, come holler at your boy a minute, girl. Come here. Girl, you got it going on. Now look, what's this thing God's talking about? Like, you don't eat the middle of the fruit. You don't eat the fruit. Just look, if you eat the fruit, you're going to be like him. You ought to taste this fruit, girl. The devil can only give you what you already have, but don't know it. Eve was already like God. The Bible says that we are made in the image of God. We are the imago Dei. Go back to Jesus now. When Jesus is tempted by the devil, he's already God's son. He can't give him anything that he doesn't already have. Look, Shiloh, don't let folk determine how you see you. You let God determine how you see you. You look at you through the lenses of God. You look at you through the lens of the divine. Can I push on? The devil says, okay, you got me. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you up to a mountain. And all of this I'll give you if you'll bow down and worship me. The adversary always makes promises he can't keep. He always makes promises he can't keep. I'll give you all of this. Wait a minute. When Jesus got up with resurrection power, he got up with somebody had been teaching and preaching. What is all in Hebrew? Means all. What is all in Greek? Means all. What is all in German? It means all. So if Jesus got all power, then how much does that leave for Satan? The only thing he can do is to try to talk you out of yours. That's all he's got. Now, what he says is, thou shalt have no other gods, not before me. We have taken that out of context. Let me use this as an example. We have in Massachusetts and Maryland, we have garage sales. So what you do is you take, not junk, you take You take the things, your stuff, the things you no longer need, and you put it on the lawn, and people come by. And they buy the stuff that you no longer need. I've seen bumper stickers that say, I stop for garage sales, or I stop for tag sales, or whatever it is that you call them. Now, if you pull up at a tag sale, and you've got golf clubs that you no longer play with, you got toys that the kids haven't played with in years, you got dishes that you don't eat anymore, you got clothes that you can't wear anymore, and all of this stuff is laid out. But it's laid out before you. We took the text to mean, God, I'll have other gods, but I won't put any before you. Try this on for size. Me and Ben, we say to Cynthia and Karen, we're going to have other relationships. We're just not going to put them before you. You didn't get it, did you? What if Cynthia and Karen, Ed, Bishop, we gonna have other relationships? What you complaining about? We're just not gonna put them before you. What I'm saying, Shiloh, is for some folk, that's okay. Oh, okay, all right, I'm out here by myself now. There are some folk who say, I don't mind being the other woman, okay? I don't mind being a kept man. I don't mind other relationships. When your pastor was in college, there was a group called the SOS Band. The SOS Band said, I don't care about you other girls, just be good to me. There are folk who like that. But God said, I don't roll that way. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Don't get them in my presence. Don't get them near me. Don't get them in my sight. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. The thing that I love about God is that God is God in season and out of season. You see, when we think about how good the Lord is, I had a conversation on the night I was to have surgery 2,000 years ago, and I had to share it with you because Big Mama was here last time I was here. Ben called like he was. What's up, man? I'm in the hospital. I've been drinking this stuff that cleans you out. So you have gone to the bathroom until there's nothing left. I know that's too much information, but I'm just trying to set the scene for you. Ben calls and says, hey, man, I got Big Mama on the line. Big Mama said, Ed, we're not going to let you go. We're not. All right. I told you he'd be all right in a minute. He'd be all right. But Big Mama said, Ed, we're not going to let you go. Now, what I need to explain to you, Shiloh, is she was not praying a prayer. She was giving a report. I've had a consultation with God, and we've decided, we was the pronoun she used, are not going to let you go. When I thought about that as I went to sleep that night, I had complete and utter confidence in the fact that I was going to be fine. Now, Shiloh, what you didn't know is what my doctor told me 2 years ago. Vernon Smith told me 2 years ago, and you know, when we got your case and took it to the tumor board at the National Institute of Health, the nation's best physicians, they said the best thing that you can do for him is to tell his wife he got 6 months. He told me this 2 years ago. I thought, why didn't you tell me that? What good was it going to do you? You didn't need to know that. But Shiloh, still standing. After all these years, 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 still standing. Still standing. After all these years, still standing. After all these years. Thank you for the journey. Thank you for the hard times. Thank you for the good times. Thank you.